Hello, this is Jer. I'm playing Oxygen Not Included, and this is the second episode of me playing the Moonlet cluster. So if you haven't seen the first episode, you may want to go back and watch that first. First project I'm doing here in the new world that I've discovered is food storage. So I've got a location that has minus 30 temperature, and I'm going to be able to easily get carbon dioxide there. So that's a perfect location to be able to have food for my dupes. In the last episode, I built a system to take care of the hydrogen that is in my base, so I no longer need the gas mask, at least not this low. In my main base, I'm going to upgrade the latrine to a washroom. I'm also going to throw in showers in front of it. That's going to increase my morale by a couple points, but it's also going to stop to have dupes waste their time plunging the outhouse. I'm starting the same project in the new world, just at half the size of my main base. I've noticed that my food storage started to get a little bit warm. It's still in the negative temperatures, enough for refrigeration, but not freezing. So I'm taking that further down, so I'm going to get a full freezing effect on all my food that's stored there. I've noticed quite a chill below my main base, so I'm starting the process of building a vacuum there to prevent some of the cold affecting my main base. I'm making sure I have access to both teleportation systems. In the last episode, I showed you a really easy way to make a vacuum in the diagonal. Now I'm going to create a vacuum in the horizontal. So I'm going to create two tiles side by side, spaced by 2. Once they're created, I'm then going to dig underneath them. That's effectively going to create the vacuum, or at least halfway there. Then I'm going to build 4 tiles together like this, and once they're built, delete the ones underneath, making a full vacuum in the horizontal. An easy way to increase morale is to force the dupes to walk through a nature reserve, so I'm digging out a spot to build that, and getting them every time they want to go to the mess hall, they have to go through this, increasing their morale by 6 points. A continued horizontal vacuum on the other side of my base, as well as dug out access to the teleportation system, because we're going to be using that pretty soon. I'm acting quickly here because that salt geyser is producing 95 degrees salt water, so I want to block that off quick as possible, avoiding heat bleeding in around my base. Now I'm digging out a spot to build gas masks, because I want my dupes to be able to go up into space and explore beyond. I also noticed I just need one final touch to complete that nature reserve. A simple sign is going to make all the difference. I also noticed that my water reserve I started with has emptied up, so I might as well tear that down. I might as well put a nature reserve in my other base, so my dupes here get a +6 to morale bonus. And I'm going to choose to put that in front of their food storage. They're definitely going to want to walk by that at least once a day. So the gas masks are coming along really well. So at this point I build a telescope because I want scientists to be able to look at the stars and see what garbage is in space. Now I'm bringing scientists over to the new world just briefly, having them activate the 2 teleportation systems. So they're going to do a high five here and a wipey wipe there and go back to the old world. And then they'll activate the machines on this side. Builder, this is your one interest. Building, this is what you do? After that, going after some wheezy warts in the new world, because I want that for some research. If you've got the option to get a nutrient bar, take it, because it's great for space travel. I'm digging out a place to build a materials study terminal. What's this? Scientist has made a discovery, a planetoid that we can fly to later on. It's going to be a good source for oil and natural gas. Even the smallest amount of water can turn sterile atmosphere to normal atmosphere, so I really have to keep my eyes on this. Okay, another planetoid has been discovered. It's a frozen world. I've got plans for you in the future. I do believe that this is a change from the recent update. There's a lot more radiation in the air, and my scientist is getting sick while they're looking up. Curious if anyone else is getting this. Another dupe joins the team. They like to supply rocketry and suit wearing. They're called astronaut. Pumping out some polluted water. I'm going to feed that to an arboratory. In some cases I still want a small wire, so I'm building a transformer next to a smart battery. The idea is a smart battery will turn off the transformer when it's not needed. Another planetoid that's really close to my starting world. Excellent. In this area, I'm going to bring in a pip, and I'm going to have them plant 6 wheezy worts, so I'm going to be able to use that for research in the future. I'm directing some water from the inverted world, and at the same time setting up a farm to grow some berries. So now I'm taking the water from that world and inputting it into my system here. I'm also increasing the number of liquid reservoirs for the polluted water that go out of the toilets and showers. I've selected this location to be a future metal refinery. We'll see that in a little bit. Tile by tile, I'm telling the pip where to plant the wheezy worts, because I want to put 2 radbolt generators in between 6 wheezy worts. I'm using a ladder to block the pip from putting wheezy worts any place that I don't want it to go. I built a ranch in a different location and I decided I didn't like it, so I'm moving it up here. I'm going to grow 2 arbor trees in this location to be able to feed the pip that's going to be in there. So the metal refinery that I'm going to create is going to produce a lot of hot liquid. So I'm going to take the liquid that I'm going to pump into it and connect that with the cold zone just so it maintains the temperature as I produce refined metal. So here's my coal power system. I've got a bin with coal in the area for dupes to be able to throw that into the coal generators. And the other key bit is the smart battery, which is telling those coal generators to turn off when it's not needed. I'm bringing over some blossom seeds because I want to set up a bristle blossom farm in the other world. Here's my new metal refinery. Unlike the rock crusher, I'm not wasting half the metal ore every time I want to generate refined metal. Just checking the radiation that I'm going to get from these wheezy worts, and it's a little bit over 1,000, which is going to work great. A little bit of polluted water is causing some annoyance in my pipes, just cleaning that up. I found the polluted water vent. I don't want it to mix with the salt water, so I'm going to remove the salt water before I fully dig it out. Another dupe has joined us called Runner. So I'm designing my material research station, and I'm putting a power shut off there because I want to be able to control when the radbolt generator is on or off, because that thing uses a lot of power. Next, I'm having a bunch of radbolt reflectors go around and pointing it towards the input of the research station. The final radbolt reflector is actually a holding mechanism, so I can actually have radbolts sit on that for an infinite loop. And I'm going to be able to control when it's able to actually pass through and go into the machine. The logic I have set up to it is basically saying if there's no duplicate and the terminal needs some radbolts, then it'll let it through. Otherwise, the radbolts will sit in an infinite loop on that final one before it's let down. So I'm optimizing the way that I'm filtering hydrogen. So if I detect hydrogen in the pipes, I'm going to push it into the gas reservoir. Otherwise, I'm going to send it out to a vent right next to it. I'm also going to attach logic to it. So essentially, the reservoir is going to tell the pump not to run if it has more than 80% hydrogen. The other logic is the hydrogen generator is going to run if there's a need of power or there's more than 80% hydrogen in it. I managed to clear out all the salt water around the polluted water vent, so I'm happy about that. And here is the polluted water vent ready for me to start using. Putting in a little automation to send a specific amount of materials back and forth between my 2 bases. I just got scientists to analyze the polluted water vent, and it's not going to be outputting anything for 42 cycles. So I'm going to have to burn through my water much longer than I had anticipated. Okay, I'm going to stop it there for this episode. I currently am not going to have any polluted water out that vent for 42 cycles. When it does come out, it's not even going to come out cold. So I'm going to have to find a way of cooling down my base without natural means. Probably not the biggest surprise, though. The biggest surprise is the fact that radiation is at least 3 times the amount as it was before. I'm not 100% sure what all the consequences are that is going to be just yet, so we'll find out. My overall stress level, if I were to rate myself on the dupe stress level, is going to be 5%. It was 0 in the first episode. Still confident things are going to be good, so let's continue on to the next episode, and I hope to see you there.